Hey my lovelies, we are here to look at the swords. The suit of swords, ace to 10, okay? We're going to just dive straight into it. Going to try and make these little videos short and as straightforward as I possibly can. Right, so from our other sessions, we've covered the numbers, we've covered the suits themselves, and now we're going into the meanings of the aces to the tens in the suits. We've done the wands, we've done the cups. Now we're going into the swords. Remember, the aces stood for new beginnings, seeds, inspiration, sparks, ideas, something fresh, something new, okay? The start of a new project, the start of something new. Seeds that are planted to grow something, okay? The swords themselves represent challenges, intellect, ways of thinking, and communication. All right, so we go into the Ace of Swords. So the meaning of the Ace of Swords from the book, we'll go from the book first. We know what the book is that I use. It is How to Channel from the Akashic Records. It's my Bible. It's the only book I use apart from the Gilded Tarot small little book, which I think you can only purchase along with the cards. Okay, I don't often use the cards of the Gilded Tarot, but the book's quite handy, very layman's terms. Okay, no promotion there, it's just what I use. So the meaning of the Ace of Swords from the book is victory is yours in any upcoming battle. The blessing of God protects you. So it's about the victory being yours, okay? If there's anything upcoming, but remember, it's a battle, okay? If there's anything upcoming, the victory is yours, but it doesn't particularly come easy with a sword card, okay? So there's work, there's time, there's effort that's got to be put into something to grow it, to get hold of it, and to have victory in it, okay? So for me, the Ace of Swords, I write it down just so that I don't forget, okay? The Ace of Swords talks about change, it talks about perspective, talks about seeing the truth, understanding, moving forward. It can talk about an inner knowing, because remember, it's about intellect. It does talk about that aha moment, you know, that clarity, realization, success, victory, mental clarity, okay? Now, with the swords being challenges, it's going to be a challenging time. It's again, it's all about intellect, okay? So it's about communicating well, using your intellect. It's about having some ideas, some sparks, some inspiration, but it's all mental thinking in a positive direction, okay? Positive mental thinking and positive communication and positive movement forward. So it's about growing something new mentally, okay? New communication, or at least planting the seeds to have the communication, the talk, yeah? Aha moment, very intellectual card. But these swords all come with challenges, okay? In the book, in astrology, the Ace of Swords represents Mars, Aries, and Leo. Again, you don't have to learn that. That's just the astrology part of it, okay? Right, so we go into the Two of Swords. Now, again, the twos are about choices, decisions. They're about balance. They're about the middle ground, okay? Again, we're going to drum it in. I'm going to say it all the time, through every card, okay? Swords are about challenges, intellect, ways of thinking and communication. In the book, the Two of Swords says fear, confusion, clouded judgment, unable to open up, urgent consultation is needed, health may be endangered, okay? In the book, the Two of Swords in astrology is represented by Neptune, Gemini, and Pisces, okay? For me, the Two of Swords talks about not taking action, talks about being mentally stuck, taking a pause, challenging decisions, unclear about something, unclear about what to do, a stalemate. You either can't decide or you're ignoring a choice and you're feeling blocked, okay? So you can look at the picture and it is exactly that, isn't it? You know, she's got a blindfold off. She cannot see. She's either unwilling to make a decision, 2, she's unwilling to make a choice, 2, or she literally cannot. She's at a stalemate. She's stagnant. She's stuck. She's guarding her chest with the swords. She's in opposition to something. Yeah, refusing to open up, refusing to see, refusing to move forward. It's a challenge, yeah? So it's a challenge of mental thinking. It's a challenge of her intellect. It's a challenge in communication, yeah? So no communication, no forward movement, being blocked, being guarded mentally, the refusal to see, the inability to make a choice, the inability to make a decision, at a stalemate, feeling stagnant, feeling closed off, okay? Mentally unsure of how to progress forward. Yeah, it's all in the card. Just say what you see in the card. Right, on to the 3 of Swords, okay? Remember, 3s are about collaboration, teamwork, working together. They're about coming into alignment with oneself. That is what the 3s are about, or other people, okay? In the book, oh, hold on, remember, that's what 3s are about. Again, I want to go through it every single time. Sorry, I'm so hot. It's really, I mean, it's late here. It's nearly 7 o'clock, but it's so warm. And it's muggy and it's been raining and I'm just really sweaty, like clammy and sweaty. The 3s are, again, challenges, intellect, ways of thinking and communication. In the book, it says separation, grief, loneliness, disorder, confusion. I will say this because if you're going to do a read for someone who's in a bit of a state, or wants to conceive, this could be relevant. So I'm going to say it, okay, because it's in the book anyway. It's a possible miscarriage, okay? So if you're doing a read like that and someone wants to know, although a lot of people steer away from health reads, but if you're doing one and someone, you know, for a friend or whatever, it can talk about possible miscarriages, okay? In astrology, it is ruled by Saturn, Capricorn, and Pisces, okay? For me, the 3 of Swords represents grieving, not being happy. It can represent sadness, jealousy, being annoyed, frustrated, uptight, neglecting your emotions. Deep hurt, disappointment, loss. But also the 3 of Swords does talk about mending your heart, okay? So it talks about that this pain has already happened, and it talks about mending that heart. It talks about overcoming pain, overcoming confusion, overcoming your mental thoughts, healing those to allow negativity to pass and move into new energy. Okay, remember, it can talk about upsetting words. Remember the swords. The Three of the Swords is a little bit confusing because it's about a heartbreak, but we have to remember it's swords as well. Okay, so it is about you know, a mental hurt as well, because it's the big heart, as emotional hurt. It talks about mental thoughts getting in the way, challenges, yeah, hurt in separation, hurt in a severed relationship, in severed ties. So the swords are all about communication. So there could have been, you know, words that hurt, mental thinking that is actually hurting you or hurting the other person. It is about sort of about intellect, but really emotions here are taking over your intellect. They're taking over the way you communicate. It's a very, very challenging card, not only mentally, but emotionally, okay? But the Three of Swords is all about trying to overcome that, trying to heal that so that you can move forward into new positive energy. That is what the Three of Swords is about, okay? Coming into the Four of Swords. Remember, fours are all about stability, foundation, okay? They are about the hard work that has been done, time to rest, time to reflect, look at what you've accomplished before you start again. But the fours are all about stability. We come into the Four of Swords. Again, remember, swords, intellect, communication, challenges and ways of thinking. We come into the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords in the book says you've been overworking, abusing your mind, your body and your spirit. You've got to slow down. You've got to look after your health or your health will suffer. Okay, this card in astrology is ruled by Neptune and Virgo. For me, the Four of Swords is all about withdrawing, retreat. It's about peace, time out, concentrating on yourself. It's about releasing mental clutter, calming your mind, yeah, being calm, and it's about tranquility. It's about regeneration. It's about taking care, but of your mental mind, of your thinking. It's about getting your thoughts in order, your thoughts in check, okay? It's about taking time to rest and reflect after something challenging. Remember, the Four of Swords is about the knight that has been out in battle for a very long time, and he comes back and he lays down and he hangs his swords up, and he's just taking care of one sword. The one sword is his sword, and he's taking care of it. So he's taking care of his mental thinking. He's coming back to a place of peace, a place of calm, where after he comes out of the Four of Swords, he can communicate well. He can change his way of thinking, have a clearer perspective on something. But really, the Four of Swords is all about rest, relaxation, taking time out to regenerate. Yeah, it's also about mental thinking, mental clarity, calming all that down, really looking after yourself. Yeah, taking time for you. Okay. Did I say the Four of Swords, astrology, Neptune and Virgo? We come into the Five of Swords. Now remember, the fives are all about a significant change, okay? A change in status, yeah, the fine-tuning of something. It can talk about positive change, or it can talk about conflict in change, okay? Again, mental thinking, intellect, challenges, and communication, all right? Also, I forgot to say in this Four of Swords, if you get this in a deck, in a spread, usually there's no communication going on between people, all right? Or there's no communication coming, because it's a time to rest, reflect, and contemplate your next sort of move for the stability of your foundation, for your mental well-being. So usually when you get this card in a spread, no communication. Someone's taking time, yeah, to think. Not always no communication. I've had this card before and there has been communication, but people are usually a little bit withdrawn and not speaking particularly their truth, okay? They're trying to get their mental thoughts into some sort of order, some sort of shape, okay? So it's about being quiet and really reflecting, resting, and withdrawing, okay? So usually a non-communication card. We go into the Five of Swords. In the book, the Five of Swords represents the wrong crowd, the wrong associates, dealing with manipulating people or manipulating situations, underhandedness, and something that is superficial, okay? It is ruled by Saturn and Capricorn in astrology. For me, the Five of Swords is about winning at all costs. It's an ego card, it's a selfishness card, but it is also a looking after oneself card, okay? So I like to say this is a card of healthy selfishness, but only in a guidance read. So if this popped up in a guidance read, I'd be like, okay, so it's okay to be selfish, but you need to be selfish in a healthy way where it doesn't affect others, okay, in a negative way. So it's about control, it's about manipulation, it's about conflict. It can be about hurting each other, heated words, someone being resentful, wanting an argument, wanting a fight, okay? But it is also a card of being assertive, okay? So you'd have to see what other cards were around it. But it's a very assertive energy, and it's an energy of putting one's self first, okay? But it does talk about game playing, it does talk about ego, it does talk about winning at all costs, and some conflict and drama. Now, because it's a sword, again, it's mental conflict, it's bad thought patterns, it can be bad words, immature communication or nasty communication. But it's all about your way of thinking, and it's usually quite a negative card, okay? It's about your intellect as well, where there's mind games, manipulation, and some sort of deceit, some sort of dishonesty going on, some conflict going on. It's a very, very challenging time. If you got this card when you pulled this card, and someone was going to ask you, is someone going to communicate with me? Oh yeah, communication may be coming, but not in a particularly good way, okay? Because it's a conflict card. So yeah, that's your Five of Swords, okay? We come into the Six. Remember what sixes are about? They're about victory, they're about success, They're about satisfaction, okay? They're about time of benefit, a chance to relax, but yeah, a chance to take some happiness from a moment, but really about victory and success and satisfaction. Again, the swords, challenges, intellect, ways of thinking, and communication, okay? In the book, the Six of Swords represents new cycles, new beginnings, faraway places, and happy endings, okay? In astrology, it's ruled by Venus and Libra. Okay, in my meanings, it's about a transition. It's about forward movement. It's about being grounded, healing, stability, leaving behind the familiar, yeah? Leaving behind old patterns of behavior. It's about a spiritual transition, leaving old beliefs behind, but it's all about moving forward. It's about life lessons, and it actually also can be about the silent treatment, okay? So if we apply that to the swords are, it's like you're moving forward to calmer waters. Here's the water here, which is rough. Here's the water here, or is that water rough? That water's calm, okay? So it's about moving. It's about having a transition in your life where you're moving forward away from something, but towards something else that's more grounded, more stable. The swords talk about your life lessons, and they are lessons that you've learned along the way, okay, from where you've come, from the relationships you've been in, from the situations you've been through. These are your life lessons, yeah? This is your mental thinking now. This is your communication now. You can communicate better, yeah? Your way of thinking has changed. You've made a transition. You've evolved. You've ascended, yeah? Your intellect is better. You've got all those swords in the boat. You're moving to calmer water, to something more stable. So challenging times, yeah? You've been through challenging times, but you're heading now towards some sort of stability. It's all about mental thinking and getting that under control. It's about learning your life lessons and moving forward. It could also be, depending on the cards around it, it could also be communication. Don't forget the swords are communication. It could be that communication is coming, depending on the cards around it, okay? You with me so far? We go into the Seven of Swords, the tricky old Seven of Swords, yeah? The tricky old Seven of Swords. Remember, sevens are about patience, commitment, and trust, okay? The swords, again, about challenges, intellect, ways of thinking, and communication. In the book, sevens are, the Seven of Swords is, talks about being on a journey, gathering knowledge and wisdom. Common sense will bring you positive outcome. It's constantly on a journey, gathering knowledge and wisdom. Common sense will bring you a positive outcome. That's what it says in the book. It's ruled by, in astrology, by Jupiter and Sagittarius. For me, okay, the Seven of Swords talks about breaking free. It talks about planning, avoiding someone, not trusting someone. It can talk about deceit, concealing. It can talk about an energy vampire. It talks about theft, betrayal, trickery, lies. It can talk about self-sabotage, yeah, some sort of denial, some sort of fraud, doubting yourself, inner deceit and secrets, okay? So there's a lot of meanings to that card. But, you know, you're like sort of tiptoeing away, but looking over your shoulder. There's something here that's a bit dodgy if you're doing that, okay? So it is about someone leaving, but someone being a little bit of a trickster, all right? So there's something going on here that is a little bit underhanded. Someone's sneaking away. Okay, so communication might be withdrawn, yeah? Someone's not thinking of you while they're doing something else. It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenging card, all right? But it's a little bit of a trickster energy. And he does leave 2 swords behind here, yeah? Hadn't really noticed that before. I mean, I had noticed it a lot, but I mean, he's making off with 5 swords. There's 2 still in the ground, okay? So make of that what you will. I haven't quite sussed that one. I've just thought of that while I'm going through it. Any ideas in the comment box below? You're more than welcome to tell me what those 2 swords in the ground represent for you, okay? Maybe someone going back for more. Okay, maybe someone is just sneaking off but is going to return for the other 2 swords. Maybe someone playing you, yeah? So, you know, it's up to you how you interpret it in your read. Okay, we go into the 8 of Swords. Okay, remember the 8 of Swords is all about prioritizing, talks about progression, okay? But the eight also asks you to look at the next steps that need to be taken. Okay. Again, the swords, challenges, intellect, ways of thinking, and communication. All right. In the book, we talk about, it describes it as confused, hurt, blinded by fear, urgently needs to confide, mental and physical health in danger, introverted a personality. Okay, for me the 8 of Swords is about being mentally blocked, feeling powerless. It's all about your mindset, so it's about being stuck in a negative mindset, feeling like you're under attack, you've got your walls up, you could be feeling like a victim, just very, very stuck, self-doubt, no way out of a situation, again, feeling restricted, feeling unfulfilled. It can talk about an abusive relationship. It can actually talk about debt, limiting self-beliefs, negative thoughts, okay? So again, the swords are quite low vibrational, more of a sort of I don't want to say negative, but more of a lower energy sort of card, okay? But it is, okay? You think about it, she's there, she's wrapped up, she's blindfolded, feeling very stuck in her mental thinking, in her mental thoughts, challenging situations around her, cannot change her perspective. Her mental thinking is the same thing over and over and over again, okay? And just feeling very stuck, okay, in one's own head, really, okay? We go into the 9s. Now the 9s, again, remember they're about nearing the end of a situation. Seeing the seeing the end in sight, but it asks as a time to signify clarity. Yeah, so the Nine of Swords is asking us to get some sort of clarity, some sort of change of perception on a situation. Okay. Yeah, I'm just reading what it says there. It says you know what you have to do to get there. It's really the ending's sort of close. So yeah, it is, you know, again, a challenging time, challenging thought patterns, your intellect, having difficulties changing the way you think. Yeah, difficulty in communication, maybe fear in communication, anxiety in speaking. Yeah. In the book, the Nine of Swords is mind over matter, accept medical attention and tender loving care. Accept medical attention and tender loving care. It's asking us to accept from others. Yeah, so if we need to talk to someone, if we need care from someone, if we need attention from someone, especially medical attention, it's about accepting it and going and getting it. Your health will improve in leaps and bounds. So it is again, it's also a very, very health card here. Okay. My interpretation of the Nine of Swords is about feeling weighed down, feeling in a dark place with dark thoughts, worrying, but it can talk about worrying excessively, feeling stressed, feeling anxious, feeling fearful, some inner turmoil. It's all about your mindset, mind over matter, being hard on yourself, putting yourself down, and negative self-talk. Again, it's all about your perception, okay? So you're going through a challenging time again here. Mentally, it can talk about health issues as well, and you worrying about those and stressing about those, but also just in fear or in just in a place where you're not particularly happy. It doesn't have to be that someone's, you know, really weighed down and really in a dark place and really excess anxiety and stress. I've pulled this card for myself before, and it's not that I'm like really stressed out or really worried either. It's more of a just, you know, I've got things to do and I'm a little bit I just can't see a way out of it, and I really can't be bothered sort of card as well. So if you pull it for yourself, you know, you can give it your own meaning as well, but it doesn't necessarily have to be all, you know, massively dark and gloomy. It can just be that you're worried about something, as simple as that. It would really all depend on all the other cards around it, but it is worry of some degree. Okay, maybe worrying about talking, worrying about communication, worrying about some sort of challenging time you've got to go through or you know's coming up. It can just be stuck in your head with worrying thoughts or a little bit of anxiety, overthinking, and maybe stuck in a perception of, you know, not being able to get out of a situation. So again, it's a lot of mental thinking going on there. If you got this in a communication sense, it would be maybe someone was stressing about communicating. Maybe someone has the inability to speak the truth. Maybe someone's very anxious about telling the truth. Yeah. And someone's very worried about telling the truth. So yeah, lots of meanings, but again, it would all depend how it was pulled in a spread and the cards around it. We wrap up with the 10. Remember, the 10 is the completion of a cycle, yeah? The end, you know, the end of something where we've learned the lessons, the cycle's completed. Again, let's ram it in for the last time. Swords is challenges, intellect, ways of thinking, and communication. Okay. 9 of Swords in astrology is the Moon and Libra. Okay, the 10 in the book. It talks about karmic payback time, surrender, forgiveness, and love will set you free. It is ruled in astrology by Pluto and Cancer. My meaning of the 10 of Swords is change. Obviously, 10 is about, it's about the ending of a cycle, but it's about change. It's about dealing with the pain or the pain of a problem. It's about a situation that has ended badly. It's about betrayal, and it talks about hurt, but deep hurt, okay? It can talk about arguing, and it can talk about depression, but usually it's about walking away from it. So you're walking away from the hurt, you're walking away from the betrayal. Okay, he's still on the ground here with the 10 swords in his back. It can be a little bit of an overkill card, yeah, like where someone's blowing something up out of proportion, but not always, so you have to be careful with that one. But yeah, someone's betrayed him. They've stuck knives in his back, a backstabber. Okay, so hurtful words, hurtful communication, yeah. Hurtful times, challenging times where you felt betrayed. But the 10 is about releasing it. It's about releasing the mental thinking, releasing the bad words, gaining a perspective, ways of thinking, releasing the challenging times. And it's about moving forward, okay? It really does talk about being at a very low point, but it talks about getting up, standing up, and overcoming, yeah, the real bad times where you felt betrayed, where you felt hurt, where someone said nasty words to you, where someone has communicated in a not a great way with you, and overcoming those challenges, yeah, to be able to move forward, to complete that cycle. It is about leaving the past in the past, and it actually can talk about sort of as a guidance read that you need to forgive, yeah. If you can't forgive others, you forgive yourself for not being able to forgive others. But it's a very challenging card, and it does talk about you've been hurt, and it does talk about you've been betrayed, and being at a low point. But it also asks us with that 10 to get up, to push on, to let it go, and to move forward. Okay, that is what the 10 of Swords means. Right, so that's the swords done. I hope I hope you're with me and keeping up with me. Remember, you can watch the videos over and over and over again. You can even bash my buttons and press my subscription with the bell, and you will get notified when I post the next part and the next part and the next part, because I've made about 37 thumbnails. I wanted to keep it just like break it down, and you could refer back to each part individually without having to trawl through like a 2-hour video or something for all the bits. So yeah, my lovelies, that was the swords. Stick with it. It can be long, it can be complicated, you can get a fried brain from tarot, but once you lay them cards and your intuition kicks in, it's a real good sort of buzz, and it's a real good sort of feeling, and you know, it's a real good way to offer people guidance as well. I mean, whether they take it or not is another thing, but you know, it's pretty cool. So stick with it. It's a lovely tool to be able to use. I wish you all the very best on your how to learn tarot. And I'll keep sticking these posts up. So yeah, bash the buttons, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified of them. Okay, love you long time. Namaste.